Ask Mohammad Mazhar to rejoin again. There is some technical problem. Ask Mohammad Mazhar to rejoin again. Right? I hope everyone are able to see the screen. Right? Everyone are able to see the screen here. Screen is visible.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes,
sir. Yes,
sir.
sir.
Right. Okay. So the lab that is for me to engage, it is OPAMP and LIC lab, that is 18WL48. Okay, OPAMP and LIC lab, a linear integrated circuit lab. Okay, and it is subject code is 18WL48. So here we'll be studying the various experiment using the operational amplifier. An OPAMP is an IC, right, which is able to perform various types of operations, right? Like it may be addition operation, subtraction, right? Integration, differentiation, various types of operations is being performed by the OPAMP IC. So OPAMP is a versatile IC. OPAMP is a versatile IC. So using this operational amplifier or the OPAMP, we'll be able to rig up different circuits. So the entire lab is based on the using of the OPAMP. Entire lab is based on the using of the OPAMP in the circuits. So this is operational amplifier and linear integrated circuits lab. So the output is linear with respect to the input, and hence we say that it is a linear varying output, and that's why the name that is given for the lab is OPAMP and linear integrated circuit lab. That is OPAMP and linear ICs lab. Starting with the first experiment, it is design and verify a precision full wave rectifier, determine the performance parameters. So the first experiment is to design and verify precision full wave rectifier. So precision full wave rectifier is similar to your normal bridge rectifier, but it's an advanced version of the normal bridge wave rectifier in which the precision of the rectified output. In the last lab in your previous semester you have studied the bridge rectifier experiment, is it not? So here it is similar full wave rectifier only, but the precision that is obtained, the efficiency that is there for the that is available for the precision full wave rectifier is more than that of the that is the normal bridge wave rectifier. Okay, so that is how the name that is given to this circuit is precision full wave rectifier. Precision full wave rectifier circuit. Let us see this circuit. So this is how it appears. Precision full wave rectifier circuit. Okay, this is the circuit diagram of the precision full wave rectifier. So here we are applying the input to the minus terminal, to the inverting terminal. When we apply the input to the minus terminal, the output is inverted with respect to the input because it is inverting amplifier. What is the meaning of inverting amplifier? Inverting amplifier means the output is inverted with respect to the input. Suppose if you are applying positive portion of the input, the output will be negative portion. If you are applying negative portion at the input, the output will be positive portion. So this is called as negative gain or inverting amplifier. Inverting amplifier with the negative gain. As we are applying the input here to the minus terminal, the output is minus V in, what we are getting here at the sixth terminal. Again, when we are applying this minus V in to this op-amp, to the second op-amp, again it is an inverting amplifier. So what is minus into minus? Minus into minus is plus or minus? Minus into minus. Yes? Minus into minus is what? Plus or minus?
Plus.
Plus, correct, exactly. So minus into minus is plus, and hence the output of the second op amp we will be getting the positive portion of the output. It is a rectified output. If you are applying the input signal here, sine wave input signal, right? Output is the rectified portion of the applied input signal. So you'll be getting only the positive cycles at the output. So this is nothing but the precision full wave rectifier circuit, and we have various components here, the diode that are present, IN4148, Then the other components are there. That is resistance is there. Okay, resistors are there, various resistors. So these resistor values, they are having a particular design. Okay, according to that design, we will be rigging up the circuit here. We will be getting the values of these various different components. That is the values of different resistors. Okay, we'll take up that in one of the lab sessions. What is the design part of the various circuits? Okay. So that is the first experiment, design and verify precision full wave rectifier. Determine the performance parameters. Can you tell me which are the performance parameters of a rectifier circuit? Last semester you have conducted electronics lab, bridge rectifier experiment. Which are the performance parameters there? Yes. Which are the performance parameters of a bridge rectifier circuit? Which are the parameters we
Ripple
have
factor
found
by
out? Ripple
efficiency.
factor, exactly. Then VAC by VDC. Ripple factor is VAC by VDC.
Efficiency.
Efficiency, very good. So how do you define efficiency?
Output divided by
Efficiency,
input.
output divided by input, or output power divided by
Input.
input power.
Input.
Output is DC, is it not? Because it's a rectifier. So it is VDC into IDC divided by VAC into IAC. That is the efficiency. If you want the percentage efficiency, you have to multiply it by 100%. Okay. So this is how we are finding the efficiency. Then we are also finding the voltage regulation. That is V no load minus V full load divided by V no load into 100. Is it not? That is a voltage regulation, percentage voltage regulation. Okay. So these are the three performance parameters that we will be finding out for this circuit. Fine, students. So I'll show you the nature of the output. So you can see here, this is the input signal that is applied, and the output is the rectified portion. Output is only the positive portion. There is some slight error in this. It is a continuous output. It is not like this. Only positive portion you will get. Okay. You know how you are getting the positive portion, right? So that is how the rectified output is. Right. So let us take up the second experiment. Move on to the second one. Inverting and non-inverting amplifiers. Inverting and non-inverting amplifiers. So in the first experiment itself, I told the definition of inverting amplifier. Inverting, the name inverting. Inverting means it is the output is opposite to that of the input. If input is positive, output is negative. If input is negative, output is positive. So it is the inverting amplifier. Okay. The gain of this inverting amplifier is given by the formula V0 by Vin is equal to minus Rf by Rin. This is the circuit diagram of the inverting amplifier circuit. This is the feedback resistance from the output, sorry, from the output to the input. Then this is the input resistance. So minus Rf by Rin, minus feedback resistance divided by input resistance. So that gives the value of the gain of the inverting amplifier circuit. Similarly, when we consider the non-inverting amplifier circuit, non-inverting amplifier circuit is just opposite to that of the inverting amplifier circuit. In the non-inverting amplifier circuit, this is the input is applied where? Can anybody tell me? Just read in theory. In the inverting amplifier circuit, input is applied to the minus terminal. In the non-inverting amplifier, the input is applied to the positive terminal. Is it not? Or to the non-inverting terminal. And we have the input resistance that is applied to minus terminal. There is a feedback resistance. There is a feedback resistance from output to the input. Okay. So in the non-inverting amplifier circuit, the output is of the similar nature as that of the input. If input is positive, output is positive. If input is negative, output is also negative. But what is the difference? It is amplifier circuit. No doubt there is the importance of the polarity of the output and the input, but the magnitude of the output is always more than that of the input, because they are amplifier circuits. In the inverting amplifier, the output is having more magnitude as that of the input. Similarly, in the non-inverting amplifier circuit also, the output is having more magnitude as that of the input signal. That is why we call it as amplifiers. Okay. The gain of this non-inverting amplifier is given by ACL is equal to 1 plus RF by R1 or 1 plus RF by Rin. RF is the feedback resistance, R1 is the input resistance. So 1 plus RF by Rin, that gives the gain of the non-inverting amplifier circuit. Now what we are supposed to do here in this particular experiment? In this particular experiment, we are varying the frequency by keeping, say, input voltage, say, at around 2 volts peak to peak constant, and then we are varying the frequency. You know how to get the frequency plot, is it not? Last semester in the electronics lab also you conducted various experiments, that is RC coupled amplifier. You know how to get the frequency response, correct? So by varying the frequency here, you get different values of output voltage. Then we take the gain, that is output voltage by input voltage, output voltage by input voltage. So that is nothing but the gain of the circuit, and then we take it in terms of dB, that is 20 log V0 by V in, 20 log V0 by V in, that gives the gain in dB. Okay. Similarly, for the non-inverting amplifier also, we are maintaining the input voltage constant fixed. Okay, you know how to maintain the input voltage constant. So if it is not a 2 volts peak to peak, if it is not coming, you press the attenuation switch and you keep it to 40 dB or 20 dB, and you see that the input voltage is adjusted fixed to 2 volts peak to peak. Then you vary the frequency and corresponding output voltages you go on noting down, and you find the gain, that is output voltage by input voltage. Then later on the gain in dB. Okay. So this is how we are getting the frequency response, right? The frequency response where we have the lower cutoff frequency and upper cutoff frequency, F1 and F2, or FL and FH, and the difference between the lower cutoff frequency and the upper cutoff frequency is nothing but the bandwidth. The difference between FL and FH, or FH minus FL, that gives the bandwidth. You know that how to get the frequency response. Then let us see the third experiment, that is RC phase shift oscillator. So as the name itself indicates that it's an oscillator circuit. In the last semester you have rigged up the RC phase shift oscillator using the transistor, but here the only difference is you are rigging up all the circuits using the op-amp. In the electronics lab you are using the transistor, right, to rig up the various circuits. Here you are using the op-amp to rig up the different circuits. RC phase shift oscillator circuit, this is how the circuit looks like. So there is a forward path and the feedback path. Forward path, okay, produces 180-degree phase shift, feedback path produces 180-degree phase shift. So the overall phase shift of the oscillator is 360 degrees or 0 degrees, correct? So that is nothing but the which criteria is called as which criteria. This you have studied in your electronics lab theory, analog electronics lab theory. If the overall phase shift is either 0 degree or 360 degree and the loop gain is equal to unity, this is called as which criteria? Yes, please. Anybody can recollect? This is called as which criteria? Yes. Which criteria it is? Anybody can recollect? So it is Barkhausen criteria. You have studied this in the oscillator topic in your analog electronic circuits, is it not? So according to the Barkhausen criteria, the overall phase shift will be 360 degree or 0 degrees. How do you get that 360 degree or 0 degree? Forward path, that is from input to output, it is 180-degree phase shift. Then from output through feedback to the input, it is one more 180-degree phase shift. So 180 plus 180, there is a total overall 360-degree phase shift or 0-degree phase shift, correct? Then the loop gain is equal to unity, that is the gain of the forward amplifier and the gain of the feedback amplifier. If you multiply them, then that should be equal to 1. So this is the circuit of the RC phase shift oscillator. We have various resistors and capacitors, right? What is basically an oscillator? How do you define an oscillator? Can anybody define an oscillator? Simple, what is an oscillator?
Which produces cycles per second.
Correct, you're right. Which produces cycles per second. Very good, that is one answer. But my question is, are we applying any input in the oscillator circuit? Yes. Is any input applied to the oscillator circuit? Input is applied to the oscillator circuit. Input is not applied in the oscillator circuit. The whatever the energy it is getting from the power supply that is applied. So from that energy it is converting or it is producing the output oscillations. Okay. From the power supply that is energizing, it is producing the output oscillations. But in the oscillator circuit, there is no input signal that is applied. Fine. So this is the oscillator circuit, RC phase shift oscillator. As we are using R and C component, this is a tank circuit, what we are calling as a tank circuit, RC circuit or the tank circuit. Okay, each tank circuit, each RC network produces 60-degree phase shift. This RC produces 60 degrees, this RC produces 50 degrees, this RC produces 60 degrees. So overall the feedback network produces 180-degree phase shift. The formula for the frequency of oscillation that is produced is F is equal to 1 upon 2 pi RC root 6. Then gain is given by minus RF by R in, that is equal to 29. So this is how the oscillations are produced. It is a sine waveform that is obtained at the output of the RC phase shift oscillator circuit. Next, students, the experiment number 4 is Schmitt trigger circuit. Schmitt trigger circuit. Okay, that is Schmitt trigger is a circuit which converts any input waveform that is applied to the square wave output. What is Schmitt trigger circuit, students? Schmitt trigger is a circuit which converts any input signal applied to the output square wave. Input signal, if you are applying triangular, output is a square wave. Input signal, if you are applying sine waveform, output is a square wave. Okay, whatever may be the type of input signal that is applied, the output is always the square waveform. Okay, so that is what is a Schmitt trigger circuit. So this is how the Schmitt trigger circuit is. So now tell me whether this Schmitt trigger circuit is an inverting amplifier or non-inverting amplifier. Looking at this circuit diagram, try to identify whether this circuit is inverting amplifier or non-inverting amplifier. Yes, who will tell me?
Inverting amplifier.
Why? Why it is inverting amplifier? Yes.
To the inverting.
No, not a voltage source. It is an input signal, not a voltage source. You are right, but it's not a voltage source. Is this? This VCC is called as a voltage source. Okay, it is the input signal V in that is applied to the minus terminal, and hence it is called as the inverting amplifier. If the input signal V in, if you are applying to the positive terminal, then it is non-inverting amplifier. Okay, so like this, you should be able to identify whether it is inverting configuration or non-inverting configuration. Here we have what are called as the UTP, upper threshold point or upper threshold voltage, and lower threshold point or lower threshold voltage. So UTP is the voltage at which the output switches from its positive saturation voltage to negative saturation voltage, and LTP is vice versa. It switches from negative saturation voltage to positive saturation voltage. Okay, so when we'll draw the diagram, it will be much clearer to you, right? So the output will shift from its positive saturation voltage. There is certain maximum voltage for any op-amp, right? So beyond that voltage, the output will become distorted. Okay, it will clip off. If the voltage goes beyond the saturation voltage, then the waveform gets clipped off, or it gets, say, distorted. Okay, so the output switches from positive saturation voltage, in between positive saturation voltage, to negative saturation voltage at these two voltages, that is UTP, upper threshold voltage, and LTP, lower threshold point or lower threshold voltages. Okay, so at these two voltages of the applied input signal, UTP and LTP voltages, the output switches from plus Vsat to minus Vsat, or from minus Vsat to plus Vsat. Okay. Now we can see here, this is the input signal and this is how the output is. So this is upper, whatever this horizontal line, whatever you are seeing, that is the UTP, upper threshold point. Okay. Then the lower horizontal line, whatever you are seeing, that is the lower threshold point, this lower dashed line. Okay. So at this UTP, the output is switching from plus Vsat to minus Vsat, because it is inverting configuration. You can see here, it is inverting configuration. So the output switches from plus Vsat to minus Vsat. At LTP, that is the lower horizontal voltage, at this particular level of input voltage, the output switches from minus Vsat to plus Vsat. Then the other waveform, this diagram, whatever is you are seeing, is called as the hysteresis band or the hysteresis diagram. Okay, so here we are plotting the output voltage versus input voltage. We have the UTP, LTP, positive saturation voltage, and the negative saturation voltage. Okay, so the combination of all these is producing what is called as the hysteresis band or the hysteresis diagram. Hysteresis band or the hysteresis diagram. Okay. Next, let us move on to experiment number 5. It is voltage comparator and zero crossing detector. So the name itself tells that it is a comparator circuit, voltage comparator. It is meant for comparing the two input voltages that are applied to the circuit. Okay, if the first input voltage is more than the second input voltage, then the output will go from plus saturation to minus saturation. If the input voltage, first input voltage, is less than the second input voltage, then the output goes from minus Vsat to plus Vsat. So like this, when the output goes from plus Vsat to minus Vsat, or from minus Vsat to plus Vsat, we will be able to identify, right, whether the input voltage is greater, the first input voltage is greater than the second input voltage, or first input voltage is less than the second input voltage. Clear here? As we can see here, this is the comparator circuit, voltage comparator. Here we are applying DC voltage to one negative terminal, whereas to the positive terminal we are applying the sine waveform. So it will compare the sine waveform with this reference voltage, DC voltage. If Vin is more than V reference, output switches from plus Vsat to minus Vsat, or from minus Vsat to plus Vsat. If the Vin is less than the V reference, then the output will switch from minus Vsat to plus Vsat, right? Then zero crossing detector. This is the circuit for the zero crossing detector. Again, the name itself is explanatory here, zero crossing detector. That means when the input crosses the zero line or the horizontal line, then the output is indicating whether the input signal is crossing the zero line or not. Okay, exactly when the input crosses the zero line, the output again switches from plus Vsat to minus Vsat, or from minus Vsat to plus Vsat, thus indicating exactly at what point the input signal is crossing the zero mark or the zero line. Clear here? So hence it is called as the zero crossing detector. Zero crossing detector. Fine. And these are the reference voltages, plus 15 volts and minus 15 volts, that we are applying to the op-amp circuit. Okay, plus 15 volts, minus 15 volts are the power supply voltage we are applying. It is called as dual supply voltage. One is plus 15, that is applied to pin number 7, then minus 15 voltage is applied to pin number 4. Next, experiment number 6 is op-amp applications. Applications of the operational amplifier. As I told at the beginning, while defining the operational amplifier, that op-amp or the operational amplifier is a versatile device. It is meant to perform various types of operations, n number of operations. Okay, so we'll see a few of the operations performed by the op-amp here. Here, the op-amp is used to rig up the circuit of an adder, subtractor, integrator, and differentiator. So this is the adder circuit. The op-amp is used to rig up an adder circuit. So now tell me, what is meant by adder circuit? The name itself will tell the meaning of that. Yes, what is meant by adder circuit? Anybody? Adder circuit means what? Yes. What is meant by adder circuit? Adder means it will add the two input voltages that are applied to the circuit. So here we are applying the input voltage V1 and one more input voltage is V2. The output voltage is minus RF divided by R1 into V1 plus minus RF by R2 into V2. That means the output voltage is a sum of the two input voltages that are applied. And hence the circuit is called as the adder circuit. The output voltage is the sum or the addition of the two input signals that are applied to the circuit, and hence the circuit is called as the adder circuit. Then what is subtractor, students? We came to know what is adder. Then what is meant by subtractor? Yes? Any idea? Subtractor. What it will do? Subtractor will perform the operation of subtraction. To one negative terminal here we are applying V1, to the positive terminal we are applying V2. So what will be the output, whether it is V1 minus V2 or V2 minus V1? Can anybody guess? Can make a thought of it? Output voltage is V1 minus V2 or V2 minus V1? Which is correct? Yes, please. It is a subtractor circuit. Yes? Yes, please. What is your answer? Tell. You're right. You're right. You're telling some answer. See, it is V2 minus V1. The reason is V2 is applied to the positive terminal, V1 is applied to the minus terminal. So it will be V2 plus V2 minus V1. V2 is applied to positive terminal, V1 is applied to minus terminal. So V2 is plus positive. So plus V2 minus V1. Hence it is called as the subtractor circuit. It will subtract the two input voltages that are applied to the circuit. Next is integrator circuit. What is the integration of square wave? Any idea? Integration of square wave. If you integrate a square wave, what you will get at the output? Yes? Integration of square wave. Whether it is sine waveform or cosine waveform or rectangular waveform or triangular waveform, which type of waveform you will get? If you integrate square waveform. If you integrate square waveform, the output is triangular waveform. Integration of square wave produces triangular output. Integration of square wave input produces triangular output. Okay. This is the integrated circuit. So here we are having the input resistance R1, feedback resistance RF, and feedback capacitance CF. Positive terminal is grounded. So it is inverting configuration. Similarly, the differentiator circuit. The differentiator circuit, here we have at the input R1 and C1 combination in series. There is a feedback resistance. Okay. Then differentiation of sine wave. If you differentiate the sine wave, what is the differentiation of sine waveform? You can check the waveforms here. See here. So square wave, if you integrate, you are getting triangular waveform. Similarly, if you integrate the sine waveform, it is cosine waveform. Correct? Integration of sine is what? Is cosine, is it not? So you'll get the cosine waveform, which is phase shifted. Cosine waveform is slightly phase shifted with respect to the reference, and that is called as the cosine waveform. Then if you differentiate square waveform, you'll get a spikes like this. Differentiation of square waveform, you'll get the spikes at the output. Differentiation of sine waveform. What is differentiation of sine waveform? It is cosine waveform again. Cosine waveform. Correct? So like this, we are performing addition, subtraction, integration, and differentiation using the op-amp IC. Using the op-amp, we are performing addition, subtraction, integration, and the differentiation. What is the op-amp IC number, students? Any idea? Op-amp IC number is 741. Op-amp IC that we are using in the lab is 741 IC. Okay. Then moving on to the experiment number 7, that is active filters. So active filters are the filters which make use of the transistor or the op-amp to filter the applied input signal. If the circuit is making use of an op-amp, or if the circuit is making use of a transistor to filter the input signal, then such circuits are called as the active filters. Now, these active filters, what is meant by filter? Filter means it will remove the unwanted signal in the applied input. It will remove the unwanted signal in the applied input. That is called as the filtering process. Filtering means, we know that filters. What is the function of a filter? If we consider the household filter, water filter, what it will do? It will remove the unwanted particles. Correct? It will purify the water. Yes. Similarly, here filter means it will remove the unwanted signals. It will remove the noise signals that are present in the applied input signal. There are various types of filters: low pass filter, then high pass filter, band pass filter. Low pass filter passes only the lower frequency signals, and it eliminates, or it filters, or it removes the higher frequency signals, and hence they are called as low pass filter circuits. Okay, the low pass filter circuits. Then high pass filter circuits means, so this is a circuit diagram of a low pass filter, right? Various resistors and capacitors are used in the circuit diagram. Next, high pass filter circuit. This is high pass filter. What is the difference you can see here? In the low pass, here we have R and C. Here we have C and R. In the low pass, here we have R, here we have C, parallel combination. But in the high pass, here we have C and here we are having R. They are interchanged. Position is interchanged. Okay. This is the difference between low pass and the high pass. And in the high pass filter circuit, the circuit passes the higher frequency signals and it removes the lower frequency signals. Okay. So such circuits are called as high pass filter circuits. Then band pass filter circuit. Band pass filter circuit, What is meant by band pass? Band pass means it passes only the certain band of signals or certain band of frequencies. Okay. Suppose say if you want to pass only from 20 hertz to 2 kilohertz, it will pass only the frequencies between 20 hertz to 2 kilohertz. And below 220 hertz, it will eliminate those frequencies, it will remove those frequencies. Above 2 kilohertz, it will remove those frequencies. Only the frequencies between 20 hertz to 2 kilohertz are passed. What is the meaning of passing? The output signal is equal to the input signal. Okay, that is the meaning of passing the signal from input to the output. That is, output is equal to the input. Again, we are varying the frequency, maintaining the input voltage constant, and finding the various output voltages, finding the gain, and then gain in dB for all the three, that is for low pass, high pass, and band pass filters. Fine, students? So this is how we are getting the graph. Band pass, if you see the second one, band pass. So this is called as a pass band. F1 frequency, F2 frequency. It passes only the frequencies between F1 and F2. The frequency less than F1 is removed. The frequency above F2 is removed. It is eliminated. It is not passed. It is not passed from input to the output. That is what we mean by eliminating or removing that particular signal frequency. Next, experiment number 8 is on function generator. Have you seen function generator in the laboratory? Yes. Have you seen function generator in the laboratory? Yes or no? Have you seen the function generators in the laboratory or not? Yes. Signal generator. Have you seen in the lab? You have used them? Signal generators? Yes, please. Have you used the signal generators, function generators in the laboratory, in your electronics laboratory? You have used them or not? Anybody can answer? Signal generators. Signal generators? Yes, very good. So what is the function of a signal generator? What it will do?
Frequency.
Yes.
Frequency applying.
Correct. It will produce one thing is different frequencies. That is one thing. Other than that, what is the function of the signal generator? Have you observed that? So it produces different types of waveforms. Sine waveform, triangular waveform, square waveform. Okay, various types of input signals, whatever you want, you can get from the signal generator or the function generator. Okay, so that is the speciality of the function generator. Here we will be rigging up the circuit for the function generator using op-amp. So circuit is like this. This is our function generator using the op-amp. It looks like this. There are two amplifier circuits. From the output of first amplifier, we are getting the square waveform, and from the output of the second op-amp circuit, so it is nothing but the integrator circuit here. Integration of square wave is triangular waveform. This is the integrator circuit, okay, which is producing the triangular output. Okay, and this is Schmitt trigger circuit. First one is a Schmitt trigger. It converts the triangular wave input into square wave output. Right. So like this, the function generator operates to produce various types of input signals. It may be a square waveform, it may be a triangular waveform, or it may be a sine waveform. Okay, all these different waveforms are produced by the function generator circuit. And see, this is sine wave generator circuit. It produces sine wave at the output. In the same circuit itself, this is also incorporated in the function generator to produce the sine wave output. Clear here? So these are the various outputs: the square waveform, triangular waveform, sine waveform, whatever we are getting from the function generator. Then experiment number 9 is R2R ladder DAC. Do you all know what is the full form of DAC? Can anybody tell me full form of DAC? Yes, please. Full form of DAC? DAC. What is the full form? Digital to analog converter. Digital to analog converter. ADC, analog to digital converter. So this R2R ladder DAC, here we can see the diagram, R2R ladder DAC. So the resistors R and 2R are arranged in the form of a ladder circuit. Okay, R, 2R. If R is 5K, then 2R is 10K. R is 5K, 2R is 10K. R is 5K, 2R is 10K. Double of that. Double of 5K is how much? 2 times of 5K is 10K. Correct? And hence the circuit name given to this is R2R ladder digital to analog converter. Okay. So this is the circuit diagram. If you are applying the digital input, so this D1, D2, D3 are digital inputs. Suppose if I say apply 1, 1, 1, okay, then the output that I may get is say maybe 7 volts, right, or maybe 6 volts, slightly. That is, it will convert the input digital signal into output analog voltage. That is the function of the digital to analog converter. Digital to analog converter, DAC. So this is the formula for finding the output voltage minus RF, feedback resistance, into B3 into VR by 2R plus B2 into VR by 4R plus B1 into VR by 8R plus B0 into VR by 16R. VR is the reference voltage and R2R is the 2 times resistance, that is 10K here. Okay. If R is 5K, what is R here? This is our RF, 5K feedback resistance. R is 5K, 2R is 10K. Okay. Accordingly, you all substitute here in this formula, and depending on the bits, whether you're applying 0010 as the input digital signal, or you're applying 1111, or you are applying say 1101, whatever may be the digital input, that is converted into analog output voltage. And hence the name given to this circuit is digital to analog converter. Next, experiment number 10, realization of 2-bit flash ADC. Flash ADC is the fastest among all the analog to digital converters. ADC, analog to digital converter. You are studying the DAC also, digital to analog converter also, and also the analog to digital converter. So realization of 2-bit flash ADC means you are rigging up the 2-bit flash ADC circuit. So this is the 2-bit flash ADC circuit. It is the fastest among all the analog to digital converter circuits. Okay. And based on the applied analog input voltage, it is converting the analog input voltage into output voltage. How does it convert the analog input voltage that is applied to the digital output? Let us see that. So this is 1/4V, the reference voltage is here. At this point here, okay, it is 2/4V and it is 3/4V here, and here we are having the reference voltage. Okay. Now, based on whether input voltage is in between 0 to V/4, if input voltage is in between 0 volts and this V/4, okay, then the C1, C2, C3, this C1, C2, C3 all will be 0, and binary outputs will also be 0. If the analog input voltage is in between V/4 and 2V/4, if the analog input voltage is in between V/4 and 2V/4 volts, then C1 will be high, this C1 will be high, C2 and C3 will be low. According to this circuit, then we are getting V0 and V1 as 0, 1. Okay. Then if the input voltage is in between 2V/4 and 3V/4, it is in between 2V/4 and 3V/4, then the C2 will be high and C1 will also be high. So this C1 will be high and C2 will be high, According to this circuit, it will convert this C1, C2 and C3, and the output produced B0 and B1 will be 1, 0. Then final condition, if the analog input voltage that is applied here is in between V, this voltage V, supply voltage V, and 3V by 4, then all the three C1, C2, C3 will be high. You can see here C1, C2, C3 will be high, and B1, B0 will also be high. Okay, so like this, based on the value of the input voltage, whether it is in this range 0 to V by 4 or V by 4 or 2V by 4, based on the range, it is converting the analog input voltage into digital output. Fine, students. I hope you all are following here. Any questions up till now? Yes, please. Any questions, students, from your end? Yes. Any questions? Any discussions? Any doubts here? You are following, right, students? Yes, please. Okay, right. Next experiment number 11 is pulse generator using 555 timer. So using the 555 timer, that is the timer circuit, this is called the timer circuit. Here we are applying the trigger input. So based on the trigger input that is applied, we are getting the output pulses. Okay, can check the output here. These are the trigger pulses we in, and we are getting the pulses at the output. So using this timer circuit, using the timer IC, we will be able to produce the output pulses. Okay. So this is how, using the timer 555 IC, is a 555 timer IC it is called. Using this IC, we will be converting these trigger pulses, trigger input pulses into output pulses. Then the last experiment is experiment number 12, that is voltage regulator. Voltage regulator. So what is the meaning of regulation? Any idea? Regulation means what? Regulator or regulation? Yes, please. Meaning of regulation or regulator?
To control, sir.
Very good. To control or to maintain the voltage constant. Here in our circuits, we are maintaining the voltage constant, and hence the circuit name given to these circuits are called as voltage regulator circuits. Now these voltage regulator ICs we are using in the lab, such as 7805, 7809 and 7912. So IC 7805 is 5 volts voltage regulator. The meaning of 5 volts voltage regulator is, as you change the input from say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, you are changing the input voltage, say from 0 to 1 volt, 1 volt to 2 volt, output also changes. If you are changing the input from 0 to 1 volt, output also changes. If you are changing the input from 1 to 2 volts, output may also change from 1 to 2 volts, right? But when you are changing the input voltage above 5 volts, the output does not change. It remains constant or fixed at 5 volts, and hence it is called as voltage regulator. Right? The meaning of voltage regulator is, it is maintaining the output voltage fixed, or it is maintaining the output voltage constant. Clear here, students? Similarly, we have 7809 IC, which is 9 volt voltage regulator. That is, if the input voltage goes beyond 9 volts, above 9 volts, then the output voltage remains fixed at 9 volts. Similarly, 7912 is 12 volts regulator. So this last value 5, whatever is there, that indicates 7805. 5 means it is the voltage, regulation voltage. 7809, here 9 means the regulation voltage. 7912, so this 12 means the regulation voltage. That means above 12 volts input, if you are applying the input above 12 volts, the output remains fixed at 12 volts. Okay, so this is about the voltage regulation here. Positive voltage regulator means we are applying the positive voltages, input voltages, and output is also positive. Negative voltage regulator means the input is negative, right? Output is that is controlled, and suppose if you are using 7905 here, 7905 or 7912, Okay, so based on the input voltage that is applied negative voltage, the output is remaining constant at certain particular value of negative voltage. Okay, like how we are having the positive voltage regulators. For example, if it is plus 5 volts voltage regulator, above plus 5 volts, the output is remaining constant. Suppose if it is minus 5 volts regulator circuit, then above 5 volts, minus 5 volts, okay, the output voltage is remaining constant or fixed at minus 5 volts. Okay, hence we are having two types of voltage regulators. One is positive voltage regulator, and another one is the negative voltage regulator. Fine, students. So any questions here, students? Any questions here? Yes, please. Any questions on today's discussions? Yes. Any questions here? So did you all understand the overview of the lab here? Overview of the lab. I have given you all the overview of the lab. Okay. So any questions? Any doubts? What all we have discussed right from the first experiment till the last experiment? Yes. Any doubts here? Janvi?
No, sir, no doubt.
Okay. Deepa? Deepa?
Yes, sir.
Any doubts, Deepa?
No, sir.
Okay. Mohammed?
No, sir, no doubts.
Fine. Deepa Rathod?
No, sir.
Deepa?
No, sir.
Okay. Suraya Banu?
No doubt, sir.
Oh. Rutvik? Guni? Any questions,
doubt.
Rutvik?
No,
Followed
sir.
what all we discussed today, Rutvik?
Yes, sir. Followed, sir.
Okay. Good. Samir Khaji? Samir?
No doubt, sir.
Fine. Okay. Shubham Bekwadkar? Shubham? Any questions, Shubham?
No, sir.
Follow the today's discussion?
Yes, sir.
You want to ask anything?
No, sir.
Okay, fine. Okay, then in the next class, we'll continue with the next lab sessions. Meanwhile, yesterday's simulation, have you all tried that? Electric Studio? Just try out that whatever I have sent yesterday. Please try out that. Okay, it's a simulation tool. Electric Studio, you have to install that app. It's a mobile app. You can install on your mobile. Okay. So after installing that, you can just run and see the various experiments, such as inverting amplifier, non-inverting amplifier, differential amplifier. Then you'll able to understand what is the input, how you are getting the output, what is the nature of the input and the output. Okay, that you'll come to know that. Okay. Have you all installed that app, Electric Studio? Have you all started installing Electric Studio? Elias?
Yes, sir, installed.
Installed? Good. Then work out on that. If you are having any doubts, you can come back to me, you can message me, right? Or you can call me and ask the doubts anytime. Okay. So that's all for today's session, students. Thank you.